So, today we're going to dive into some of the really powerful and honestly kind of counterintuitive ideas from James Clear's amazing book, Atomic Habits. We're going to see why the usual ways we try to change our habits, just pure grit, often fail. And we'll uncover a much smarter, way more effective path to making real, lasting change.
I mean, you've been there, right? It's that feeling. You decide, okay, that's it. I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to exercise more, I'm going to stop procrastinating, but then a few weeks later, you're right back where you started, feeling super frustrated. It's a struggle we all know so well.
And what do? We blame ourselves. We think, I just need more self-control, or I'm just not motivated enough. We see it as some kind of personal failure. But what if? What if that whole way of thinking is completely wrong?
This quote, wow, it really gets to the heart of the matter. So many of our daily actions are just running on autopilot. They're unconscious habits. The first step to real change isn't about having more willpower. It's about having more awareness. It's about seeing those invisible scripts that are quietly running our lives.
So, let's just ask that question. What if getting incredible results didn't require some kind of heroic, superhuman self-discipline? That's the big idea we're going to explore today. And we're going to start with a story that honestly sounds almost too good to be true. Okay, so let's talk about the British cycling team. For nearly 100 years, they were basically a joke in the world of professional cycling.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They speak for themselves. For almost a century, next to nothing. It was so bad that a top bike manufacturer actually refused to sell them bikes because they were worried it would hurt their brand. Then this coach, Dave Brailsford, shows up, and in about a decade, everything changes. So how did they become one of the most dominant teams in the history of sports?
Brailsford's secret was this philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. It sounds fancy, but the idea is actually super simple. He believed that if you could break down everything that goes into riding a bike, and then just improve each little piece by 1%, the combined impact would be absolutely massive.
And when I say they went deep, they went deep. They started with the obvious stuff, making the bike seats more comfortable, but they didn't stop there. No detail was too small. They hired a surgeon to teach the athletes how to wash their hands properly to avoid getting sick. They tested pillows to make sure every single rider got the best possible sleep. They even painted the inside of their team truck white just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the bike's performance. All these tiny, tiny gains added up to mind-blowing success.
This leads us right into our next big idea, and this one really challenges something we're all taught to believe. We think success comes from just having more willpower than the next person. But you know what? The research tells a very, very different story.
During the Vietnam War, researchers discovered something shocking. Over 15% of U.S. soldiers stationed there had become addicted to heroin. This was stunning news, and everyone back home braced for this massive addiction crisis when all these soldiers returned.
And to really get why they were so worried, you have to look at the typical relapse rate. When heroin users go to rehab, get clean, and then go back to their old neighborhoods, a staggering 90% become re-addicted. Addiction was seen as this permanent, almost irreversible thing. But that's not what happened with the soldiers. A follow-up study found something that just blew everyone away. 9 out of 10 soldiers who used heroin in Vietnam simply stopped when they got home. They overcame a severe addiction almost overnight, without rehab, without therapy. I mean, how is that even possible?
The answer was a complete, radical change in their environment. In Vietnam, they were surrounded by triggers: the intense stress of war, the easy access to the drug, a peer group of other users. Back home, all those triggers just vanished. This proves that addiction isn't just some personal failing. It's often a response to a very specific environment. The people we think of as disciplined, they aren't superhuman. They're just better at designing their lives to avoid tempting situations in the first place.
And this is so incredibly empowering, isn't it? It means you don't have to be a victim of your environment. You can actually be its architect. So let's look at how you can take this amazing insight and turn it into a real practical strategy.
The whole idea here is to make your good habits the path of least resistance. You want to work out? Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Make that cue super obvious. You want to stop eating junk food? Put it away in a cupboard where you can't see it. Make that cue invisible. You want to cook a healthy breakfast? Get the pan and ingredients ready the night before. You're reducing the friction. It's all about designing your space to work for you, not against you.
But it's not just about changing your physical space. Changing your plan, well, that can be even more powerful.
And this brings us to a total game changer of an idea called an implementation intention.
Okay, check out this study on exercise. Researchers split people into 3 groups. The first group was just told to track their workouts. The second group got a big motivational speech. Their results were pretty much the same, around 35% success. But the third group, all they did was make a specific plan. Their success rate shot up to 91%. This shows us that so often, we don't lack motivation, we just lack clarity.
And this was the dead simple formula they used. I will do this behavior at this time in this location. By deciding the when and the where ahead of time, they took all the guesswork and in-the-moment decision-making out of it. There's no debate, the plan is already set. You just have to do it.
All right, now we get to the deepest level of change. This is the real secret to making habits stick for good. It's not about what you want to achieve, it's about who you want to become. So the book shares this fantastic story about a guy named Brian Clark, who had chewed his fingernails his entire life. He tried to stop 1,000,000 times with willpower, and it never worked. So he tried a completely different approach.
Instead of just trying not to do the bad thing, he took an action that actually shifted his identity. He paid for a professional manicure, and all of a sudden, he started to see himself as someone who takes pride in their nails. It wasn't a chore to stop biting them anymore. It was just part of his identity to keep them looking nice. He became the kind of person who has nice nails.
And this is the critical insight. True, lasting behavior change is really identity change. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. You write one page, you just cast a vote for being a writer. You go for a run, even a short one, you cast a vote for being a runner. These small habits are so powerful because they start to build up the evidence for your new identity.
And this is exactly why identity-based habits are so much more powerful than just setting goals. When your own pride is on the line, you will fight to keep up the habits that reinforce who you are. You're not just doing something anymore, you're doing it because it's just who you are.
So as we wrap this up, the big question isn't just what do you want to achieve? The real question is who do you want to become? And what's one tiny 1% action you can take today to cast that very first vote for your new identity? Because that right there is the real secret to change that actually lasts.